Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, and welcome all of you to a session that is going to be quite important for you because you're only here in this meeting because there's this little voice in your head or the bigger voice that you're married to that tells you that you need to do something better, bigger, greater to get your career to the next level. And we're here today to tell you what your choices are. Many people do this every year, and they do it for a reason. It's important that you stand out, and we will help you stand out at Massey. We have a star-studded team here today, Ravina and Hayden. We have Mandy here, we have Deetha here, and of course Connie behind the scenes doing the slides. We have Rebecca here, people that will be able to answer your questions and help you through, because this is something we take quite personal to make sure that we help you along the way and find a good pathway for you to take on management role, leadership roles, and to also make sure that you are in the group of other people, you're with someone that people go to and say, this person probably knows the answer. And if he or she doesn't know the answer, probably knows where to look for the answer, because you learned that in the MBA. Speaking of the MBA and the EMBA, let me turn it over to Mandy.
Kia ora everyone, welcome. Really, as Yen said, you're here because there's something missing. You want to improve your career, you want to increase your knowledge. We're going to partner with you as you move through your learning with us. So you can see there we're flexible, you're going to develop lots of knowledge about New Zealand business and globally. It's more like going to work than it is to school. It's not like your undergrad when you went through before. You're going to be highly engaged in what we're doing, and you're going to learn from each other, which is really important. And you're going to network with some fantastic, amazing people. These qualifications give you an amazing toolkit, and you can pick up that toolkit through the rest of your career. There'll be some things that we teach you which are just going to be fantastic for you. We're going to open your eyes to the possibilities of what you can achieve. You'll come in thinking you want one thing, and you might finish it thinking, oh my gosh, I have met this person who does this great thing and we're going to go off and make widgets. You know, and you originally thought that you wanted to continue working with the company that you're with now. And things change because the way you think and solve problems change. On the next slide, we talk about the 5 C's of the MBA and EMBA. They are, capability just means you're going to know more. The capacity is that you're just going to be capable of doing more. The confidence is just that you're going to try more things. You're going to have the confidence to go out there and do all kinds of amazing stuff. You're going to have connections. You're going to be able to relate and network with people at a much better level than you did before. And the last thing is you're just going to have courage to try new things. And our alumni often talk about that. There's this they've just filled with the ability to go out and do stuff that they never would have done. On the next one, we're going to talk about accreditations. AACSB is an elite, American elite business school accreditation, and AMBA is the Association of MBA, so that's worldwide. So you're going to know that you have quality in there. On the next one, we're going to talk about rankings. Now, for some people, rankings are really important. And so we draw our academic staff from the QS ones along the top. We draw them from the Massey Business School, and that's the School of Communication, Accounting, Finance, Business Management. And so you can see there that we're in the top 100, 200, 300 in the world. There's like 1,800 universities that they do for that. So we do really well. And overall, we're in the top 3% in the world with QS rankings. CEO magazine, we're in their tier 1. The online is number 17 and the EMBA is number 25. And for Shanghai, we're the top in New Zealand. So that's perfect. Okay, on the next one, we wrap you in support. And it's one of the differences of our university to many others. We'll know you personally. We'll know your families. And one of the areas that I just want to touch on very briefly tonight is the Centre of Learning Success. So when you first start coming back into study, if you haven't studied for a while, you might be a bit nervous. And what you can do is you can submit a piece of work for assessment. They will critique it, send it back to you and say, you haven't answered the question, you haven't referenced properly, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. Change all those and then you put it up for marking. And so you can have some confidence when you put those first assignments in particular that you're going to be successful. And the last one I want to talk about is the mental gym. Now that is open to our MBA and EMBA applicants so that you can come in and learn what it's like to learn from us. So some of the topics we're going to look at are strategy, it's going to be people, it's going to be business analytics, we're going to talk about getting ready for study, we're going to talk about how you apply for scholarships, and you just come in if you want to, just for an hour, and join us, and you'll learn from our lecturers the style that we have, the participation we expect from you. And it's really quite cool because you get to know the people that you're going to study with before you actually start. And so it gives you the opportunity of doing that. Just also, you need to know that our academic staff know that there are people in the room with any courses who know nothing about the topic. So you're not to be worried about that because they will get you from zero to hero by the time you've finished the course. But you can just see the differences between the MBA online and our Executive MBA. The thing you need to know, the MBA focuses on management. It's really flexible. It's a personalised learning journey to management and leadership, and it's mainly for emerging leaders. Now, the EMBA focuses on strategic leadership. So these are for people who already have quite a bit of management experience and they want to progress further. And it's a real transformational journey that develops their strategic business leadership skills. So that's the difference really between the two. And we will help you to understand which one might be best for you. All right, so now I'm just going to talk about the Executive MBA. So I've done the general stuff now. And so on the next slide, we're just going to, if you just want to see about the type of people we're looking for, middle to senior managers, you might be running your own business. You might be a specialist, and you probably are a specialist who's looking to become a generalist. And that's what people are looking for when you're going for GM jobs, CEO jobs. If you're a HR specialist, they might say to you, what do you know about finance? And so by the time you've finished the EMBA, you're going to be able to say, I have been exposed to the knowledge in all the building blocks of business. When you're thinking of coming to join us, we would like you to have a degree. If you don't have a degree, you need to talk to us, and there's some pathways that we can look at. You need to have at least 3 years of management experience and 7 years of work experience. So we're looking for people who, and that's the kind of bottom end, and I'll talk to you in a minute about the people who'll be in the room with you, so you can see the difference in that. The classes are in Auckland. One is on the Albany campus, here where I am at the moment, and the other is at Auckland Airport at the Novotel Hotel. And so people fly in from all over the country to join us. At the moment, we've got people flying from Wanaka, and then people driving down from Whangarei and all places in between, including we've got 2 students who are actually flying in from Rarotonga every 6 weeks to join us for the Executive MBA. These are the things that you'll learn, and as I said to you, the people in the classroom are the most important because 40% of the learning actually comes from the people in the classroom. So they are bringing all this experience and knowledge with them, and it's really good for you to learn all those different things. There are many different ways to solve problems. As well as that, we bring some great speakers into the room and some academic practitioners. Some of the speakers we have are people like Ross Buckley, who's the director of ASB, Antonia Watson, the CEO of ANZ, and Don Braid, who's the managing director of Mainfreight. Now, they're 3 that we use quite regularly, but we have every course has guest speakers who come in and speak. So you have the opportunity of networking and learning from those people. And with our international study tour, we are going on tour again next year, and we're really excited about that. And so 2 countries, 9 days, really intensive, immersive, And you, if you joined us, would be traveling in 2024 because it's in the second year of the Executive MBA. And what you do when you're away is you'll visit some businesses, but the biggest piece is around international business consultancy. And so that's a really exciting part of what you're going to be doing. Last weekend, we had an EMBA class on campus. And one of the students wrote a Facebook post, and I'd just like to share it with you because it was their last course before they do their research and kind of start to wrap it all up. And what she said is, what a journey it has been, culminating in an enjoyable weekend, deep diving into the knowledge acquired over the past 2 years to solve real world problems for businesses. I love consulting work, which is what they were doing. We've had good fun along the way, sprinkled with some challenging moments, but most of all, we've made some great friends. 2 more reports to go before we close the curtain on one of the most memorable chapters of our lives. And I think that for the EMBA and the MBA students say that hard, fun, challenging, rewarding. And so that's the thing you need to remember. So you just need to get on your bike really and apply, but that's for the next slide down a bit. Okay, next thing, let's have a very quick look at what the courses are. I'm not going to go into any depth. So you can see here there are 2 streams, one at Auckland Airport, one at Albany, and you can mix and match between the 2. All right, let's move on to the next one, part 2, the second year. So you can see here only 5 courses, and it's going to be so exciting. Those students are going to sit on a board. They're going to observe a board in action, and that's going to be a great learning. So not only are you going to learn about governance, but you're actually then going to start participating in that, which is really exciting. And then there's the Global Leadership, another portfolio course for students. Anything that has an asterisk means that you don't have to come into class. So 10 weekends only that you'll come into class. On the next slide, so the average class size 20 to 35, not quite 50-50. Women love more women, to have more women in our classes. 21% have moved into executive or director roles, and 7% are self-employed. So they've moved into some self-employment, or they were self-employed when they started. For other classes, so I think 3 years ago we did a survey, 98% had improved roles after 3 years of graduating, and all the rest had just started businesses. So it's a bit hard for us to tell whether they consider that to be an improved role or not. But they just have the courage to go off and try new things, which is really exciting. All right, let's move on to the costs. You can see there it's $46,300 for 2023. The non-tuition fees are paid annually, so there's about $330 a year. You need to allow around $5,000. We'll keep it to $5,000. We're going to try and keep it under. Tuition and non-tuition fees are covered by StudyLink. Text, study materials, and catering on contact days are included in that cost. Also, if you're involved in NZDF, have been or are currently, or are dependent, married or whatever, there's a discount there, about 30%, so it's really worthwhile if you've got anyone involved in NZDF. Someone who has made an investment in themselves and their future is Rawinia. So Rawinia, I'd like to pass on to you.
Thank you. Kia ora, everybody. Nice to meet you all. So I signed up because I was at a crossroads in my career. So I'd been at the same organisation for 19 years, and 12 of those I've been on the executive leadership team. So I achieved, a certain level of success. But when I left the organisation, I wanted to broaden my mind and learn new things. I had some deep experience in what I knew, so that was sales and marketing, but in my view, I lacked knowledge of general business disciplines that I thought I needed to take my career in a new direction or break into a new industry. I was one of the few in the cohort that didn't have a university degree. And so, as Mandy said, my pathway to entering the degree was based on my business experience, but I also had to pass a pre-qualifier. Some of the things that stand out for me, firstly, are the connections and the friends that I made. Over the course of the MBA, you'll work closely with other professionals. And I'm not going to lie, some of those professionals you will gel with, and more than others, and some will you'll learn things from. But others you will teach and support with your wisdom, that you've gained in your career today, and some you'll find really challenging. Just like in the business world, and just like your day-to-day, there are people who don't pull their weight, and whose views are different to yours, but learning to overcome that and work with diverse people is all part of the learning that you're going to gain, and it's going to give you skills that you can use every day and in the business world. One of my key learnings, and it seemed to be quite common amongst my cohort, was that how this feeling of imposter syndrome that I had, where I felt that I didn't measure up, had actually held me back. And that through gaining my Executive MBA, I gained confidence in my abilities, and I'm now more confident and actively participate more when perhaps I wouldn't have in the past. I am sure that the Executive MBA helped me gain this new role and gave me the confidence to put myself out there. And I'm proud to say that I applied to graduate today in November, and I will graduate with first class honours. Thank you.
So Rawani, how did you actually balance your work and your life? Are you a morning person? Did you study in the morning, or did you do the nighttime thing, or how did you manage it?
I was a nighttime thing. So my family would go to bed and I would go into my home office. And even though sometimes there were some long nights, my friends that I met in my cohort, they were also up studying. So we had a lot of interaction during those late hours into the early hours, where we would be, how are you getting on? What are you doing? Supporting one another. And that was really, really critical to getting you through.
Was it hard to adjust your professional life to accommodate the course schedule?
Yeah, it was, because actually it is a lot of work. But what I will say is, in the early part of the degree, what takes a lot of time is learning how to do academic writing, learning how to do your referencing, learning how to research, learning how to read academic texts and pull out the information that you need. But over time, you get better at that. And so by the time you get towards the end of year one and even year two, it's much, I'm not going to say the word easier. It isn't necessarily easier, but it takes you a lot less time, because all the housekeeping is taken care of, and that takes a lot of time in the beginning.
Now I'd like to pass over to my colleague, Ditha.
Thank you so much, Mandy. So let's talk about the MBA online program now. So this program is for you if you are an emerging or mid-level manager. Some of the skills that you will learn is strategic thinking, innovative thinking, business development, a better way of doing things, and also confidence, because there's a lot of self-reflection as well through this program. So, and this is really given to you, or we offer this to you by creating an environment which is extremely applied. So we've got pracademics, that we like to call them, so practicing academics who have industry experience, and they bring this into the classroom to discuss various business topics with you. So again, there's that opportunity for you to pick up almost immediately and put into your work because of the flexibility that we offer you, which allows you to work or have a full-time job. So on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the experience that we create for you. So with the MBA online, we have content that's available to you 24/7, again, giving you that flexibility that you need to be able to read at any time, study at any time, focus on work, family, and study at your time. We also make this extremely interactive. So again, fun and applied learning as you're going through the content online. And we also make it extremely relevant and relatable, so that it allows you to almost immediately apply this at work. And we also allow you to bring from work into the classroom, again, because of that flexibility that we offer. Another way that we offer flexibility is you just have 2 hours of Zoom sessions that you need to attend for 7 weeks per course. So again, you just get into it, you understand the content, and then you come into class to just discuss this with your lecturers and with your fellow classmates. So there's that opportunity for you to learn from your peers, from your pracademics or academics, and also from subject matter experts. So like Mandy said, we do get quite a few guest lecturers coming in to share their insights with you. So that all-around experience that you get from the people around you. And we've got 3 intakes a year, so March, July, and November. So let's talk about the 10 courses that you need to do as part of the MBA program. So now I'm not going to go into details over here, but just to give you an idea, we do have 6 core courses, 2 specialization courses, and you then go into part 2 of the program where you do 2 30-credit courses that is extremely applied. You get opportunities to look at business problems and solve and resolve and consult on business problems as well. And that really comes into play with your capstone course, which is the action learning project, where we connect you with organizations to work on real world problems. So let's talk about who's going to be in the classroom with you. So a class is typically 20 to 35 students, equal mix of men and women, or almost equal mix of men and women, an average age of 37, though that ranges from about 25 and goes up to be about 55, an average work experience of 11 years, again, that ranges from the minimum of 3 years, and that goes up to about 26 years. And again, because it's completely available online, we have students coming and joining us from all around the world. So that gives quite a diversity in class and allows you to have an all-round learning as well as a global perspective on many of your business topics. So this really makes classroom discussions more engaging and really fun to be a part of. But something that I would like to talk to you more about on this slide is the return on investment. Now, based on graduate data, we have 62% of our students have improved roles during their MBA. So they almost get a return on investment as soon as 1 year after they've started the program. 23% of our students have moved into senior management roles and 46% into managerial roles. And we've also got 20% of our students who have started or expanded their own business, again, during and after they've completed the MBA online program. So some really excellent numbers and some good success stories, like I said. So now let's talk about the investment that you're going to make in your future. So if you start in November 2022, you will pay 43,700 New Zealand dollars and about 230 non-tuition fees. This again includes your ebooks and all of the material that you require to successfully complete the program. Now, if you start in 2023, so that's any of the intakes next year, it's estimated to be about 44,000 New Zealand dollars. So a little bit of savings there if you start with us with the upcoming intake. And of course, all of these fees is covered with by StudyLink. We've also got 3 MBA awards that we assess automatically at the time of your application. They're $2,000 each for 3 different criteria. And they're cumulative. So you can get up to $6,000 that can be adjusted against your fees. And we continue to invest in you with the Wiley Outstanding Student Prize of $1,000 given for excellence in academic performance. So there is some support for those fees. In addition to that, we also have scholarships and awards available and offered to you by Massey. And all of us keep emailing you and messaging you about these scholarships. So that's for both the EMBA and the MBA. So talking about excellence, we have one of our star students here this evening who's kindly donated his time to come and talk to you about his experience so far. Hayden started his MBA online in March 2021, and he's actually just started part 2, so he's really close to that finishing line now. And it's excellent that you're here this evening. Thank you so much, Hayden, and over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Hayden. I'm a logistics officer in the New Zealand Army and kicked into the MBA last year in March. Overall, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It has been a fantastic experience. It's been challenging, not going to lie. But yeah, I'm going to echo Mandy from before. It's also been rewarding. And you reap the rewards as you go through. One thing I really like about it is the flexibility. Obviously, you're online, and all you need is an internet connection and a computer to do your study. I've conducted team meetings and sat in on lectures from my camper van next to a beach a few times, just to mix it up. And that's obviously something you can't do when you're attending it on campus. But on that point, at one stage, my job allowed me to attend some courses on campus, and I got in touch with Deepa, and she organised that amazingly. And I did 2 courses with a full-time cohort, and then came back and joined my online cohort. And it was just good to have the face-to-face time as well, and it was really helpful. I found the weekly classes to be great, actually. Every lecturer is different, and they'll come with their own personalities. And you actually meet different students in different courses, as well as some intakes phase in with each other, and other people come in for special reasons. And yeah, it's you actually mix up the cohort quite a bit, which is fantastic. In saying that, I've built a great relationship with my original study team from the leadership and teamwork course, so the first course that we do. And we've pretty much stuck together the whole MBA, just because we've worked out how to work with each other, and we've all become friends and got a great working relationship now. So in the online lessons, the lecturers use the breakout rooms really well, and they use polls. The stream service is really great. So the whole the online capability of Massey is actually really fantastic and interactive. And yeah, it's all from the comfort of your own home, which is awesome. If you don't feel like engaging so much, you can turn your screen off and sit there in your robe with a cup of tea if you wish. That's just some of the flexibility that you can have there. And I guess another benefit of the online is the lecturers have a bit more flexibility around who they can pull in to the lectures. So we've sat down with the owner of Sal's Pizza, and he talked us through how he stood up his business and how he was handling the COVID disruptions. We've chat with the chief economist of KiwiBank, Jared Kerr, got some really valuable insights from him. So I think having that flexibility of just having been able to zoom in is really great. What you learn is valuable stuff. It really is. I've used my knowledge and skills at my workplace already, and I'm seeing results. So just as a quick example, I got to my new units recently and noticed that there was a motivation issue with some of the people. So conducted a bit of a workshop on, stimulating motivation with my team leaders, and they took that information away and they're already reporting great results, performance, motivation, big uptick. So, it is applicable. As Deepa said, it is practical. I guess just to cap off, I think as I've progressed through my MBA, I'm starting to see things through a bit of a different lens now. I'm starting to understand a few more things. You know, you watch the news, you can understand what economists are talking about, what decisions are made by politicians, decisions made by the Reserve Bank. By the Reserve Bank. It all starts making sense. So, I highly recommend it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Hayden. An excellent example of how you could immediately apply your learnings at work. So thank you for that example. I think that's excellent. We've already got a question here for you, Hayden. So what sort of time investment is required per week?
Per week, I think the estimate provided by Massey is pretty accurate. It's around 20 to 25 hours, I'd say. It is dependent on what course it is though. So for me, leadership and teamwork, the material in there I was pretty familiar with it because we focus on that quite a bit in the military, obviously. But then managing financial resources, I probably put in 30 hours a week here and there just to make sure I was comfortable with the material. But yeah, overall, about 20 to 25.
We've got our academic, Professor Jens Mueller here this evening to talk to you about the academic side of both the Executive MBA and the MBA online program. Over to you, Jens.
Look, there are usually three thoughts that come through your mind as you contemplate doing something like this. The first one is, why do I have to put myself through this? You know, life's good for most of you. Yes, you could have a bigger job, make more money, and maybe, do exciting things, but do you really have to do this? The next question is, can I manage this? Can you graduate? Can you do this? Will you embarrass yourself? Will you fail? And the last one is, why Massey? So the first part's easy. Your parents, my parents, could have easily progressed all the way through their career with high school or less. And we have degree inflation. You must have a qualified degree to be selected, mainly because the people who hire you are risk adverse. CEOs, boards don't want to hire people where later on they get told, how could you have hired that person that didn't have a degree or that didn't have the right degree or the high one? And you will see people who have a lot less work experience than you, who will race by you, pass you on the way to the next opening, the next promotion, the next job, and that really ticks you off. Second part is, can you finish this? And I've taught MBAs for this year 36 years, and I can, on the fingers of 2 or 3 hands, count the people in those years who have started and didn't finish for academic reasons. It happens very rarely because we pick you well, we make sure you fit in, and we then support you and make sure you come through. Now, if you want to work really hard on being a real Muppet, then you probably are going to fail, but you have to work harder on that than on passing. This is a program where everybody who starts finishes, with the exception of, look, you got transferred to a different country for work, suddenly something dramatic happens in the family, you can't continue. Those things happen in a group like this, but for academic reasons, we rarely lose anyone. If we accept you into the program, then we think you can finish that. And remember, we don't look good if you don't finish. It does not make the program look good. So we have an interest to help you through. And the last one is, why Massey? And that's an easy answer because of Mandy and Deetha and Connie and Rebecca and all the people behind the scenes, because that's a unique troupe of people who have seen many MBAs go through, and they help you. But more importantly, because at Massey, we teach practically. No exams in this program. We will never send you into a room with a pencil and an egg timer ticking and tell you for 2 hours to write your heart out. Nobody will ever read to you from a book with citations and throw 1,000 PowerPoints at you with research content. The teaching at Massey is more like managers and the board director, the chairs meet in a management boardroom and talk about business rather than students and professor. It is applied, it is interactive. In every course, you will have at least one assessment that is practical, either at your workplace or a consulting gig in Hong Kong, in Tokyo, wherever our consultant clients are. And you will therefore be able to apply this directly at work. If you can work and you do a good job at work, you can finish this program. It is for you. On that happy note, I'll turn it back to whoever was going to be talking while I was interrupting you.
Thank you so much, Jens. We've got just one more question that we haven't answered, and that is what is the acceptance rate for either program?
Yes, I think the acceptance rate is somewhat misleading, because if you cold turkey send an application and scatter gunning and hoping life gets better, then you're probably not the right candidate and we're not going to take you. anybody who comes to a session like this clearly is earnest, so there's a much higher rate. But look, we're going to honestly tell you if we think there is a problem, then we'll tell you early, but there will be pathways. If you have not been at university for many years or ever, then we have warm-up rounds for you. And there's a good question that just came through. Is there an opportunity to dip our toes in the sand, listen to a lecture, and live a day, the life of a student? We look at how we can get you warmed up, and we call that the Massey Mental Gym. So when you sign up, we will give you access to a webpage where every probably 3-4 weeks, one of the courses that you will take is being highlighted. The lecturer is there, the colleagues are there, the students that will take that. So when you start for the MBA in November or the EMBA in February and the MBA in March, that you pretty much have seen the course in the short form. You've done a couple of exercises. You have talked to the professor. You've gotten the thumbnail version of that course. And look, not everybody likes all the courses. If you are great on leadership, you probably suck at finance, and vice versa. Could well be. Some people go and say, oh, I hate law, but once they go through and they know how they can sue people, it's actually quite exciting. So when you have a course that you don't like, it's gone very quickly. An MBA degree is like a butterfly degree. You sit on that course like a butterfly in the flower, boom, you lift off. After the weekend, it's over for the EMBA, or 7 weeks, it's over for the MBA. So the answer is yes, we give you a warm-up chance, and no, you don't have to be good at everything, and you will still do very well. This is something that you wouldn't do unless you already had pre-sold yourself on at least the right step in the right direction. And look, there's no better step than to go all the way, do it with Massey. We hold your hand, we make sure you're doing it the right way, but we will work with you, not for you, and you will look back after a year and a half with the EMBA, or short on 2 years with the MBA, and you will say, shit, I didn't know I could do this. And suddenly you've done it, and you will have a degree that no one can ever take away from you, that will set you up clearly for anyone worldwide to know what an MBA is, sets you up for a new role. You never have to explain in an interview what you studied. Everybody knows it. And that's the big advantage of a generalist degree. It makes you less specific, gives you much broader job choices. And it means that in any situation in the company, you can put your oar in and you can kind of say a couple of words and you make a difference. Wish you all a wonderful evening.